Hello, my beautifuls. It is a little bit after 4 today, and we are live with day number 3. I'm super pumped about this. As people are coming live, I'm going to grab my other phone and just turn it on for comments because my comments have been slower to come through. But I have to tell you, today my body has been buzzing, getting ready for this. It's just a unique energy. It doesn't happen every time. You hope for this feeling. There we go. Got it. Got the comments. You hope for this feeling whenever you do a masterclass or a live class. It doesn't always happen, but today I'm feeling super buzzy. So welcome to the live. As you drop in, can you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling? Because I always endeavor that whenever people come to my live masterclasses, that you walk away changed, you walk away buzzing, you walk away really empowered, thinking differently, feeling differently. So I'm curious today, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling today? Please drop it in. Because I endeavor that even if you're a 10, I want you feeling like an 11 at the end of this. I want you to feel so empowered. Now, if you're newer to the space, if someone brought you in as a guest, if you're brand new, I just want to open up the conversation by saying that this group is curated for female entrepreneurs. Once in a blue moon, we let a guy sneak in here, but for the most part, it's an entrepreneur group for women. And almost every single month, I drop a fresh piece of content for you to come in and just elevate the conversation. I'm here for equitable pricing, which means I create a ton of free content. So if that's the price range that you can come in at as free, you're welcome. You're welcome to take everything that I have to say yesterday, the day before that, and the whole entire guide section that's gone back about a year and a half. You're welcome to come in, utilize that content, use it to fuel your journey, elevate your context, elevate your emotions, elevate your linguistics, and increase your business acumen completely as my gift to you. So if that's what you're available for, I got you. That being said, also, you're going to find out that the longer that you're here with me, that I do create other spaces for entrepreneurs to deepen the conversation and their integration. So if you're live, can you type the words integration? Integration. It's actually just one word. If you're live, type the word integration for me, because we're going to be talking about integration today. This particular masterclass is part of a broader conversation and a bigger series. It's all located in the guide section within this group. We kicked off this entire group about a year and a half ago with what's called the Cash Queen Masterclass. And that has been a series that we've developed over about a year and a half that's around women's empowerment, finances for women, growing personal brand, which we talked about yesterday, and a whole lot in between. So this is another piece of that Cash Queen series. So today we're on day 3 of the Cash Queen series. We have quite a juicy day in store for you. First of all, we have our 7th principle, as this class was talking about literally 7 standards or 7 principles that build a brand up to 7 figures. Now, I don't always talk about the millionaire marker because sometimes I feel like people aren't ready for that conversation because they're literally just trying to get to their first 6. So I'm curious though, because I have a feeling, I just have a feeling. Can you guys let me know where you're at? Like, are you on your way to your first 6 figures in your personal brand? If so, can you put in the comments section, on my way to my first 6? I want to feel the room. I want to be sensitive to where you guys are. I want to curate this for you. If you've already gone beyond 6 figures in your personal brand and you're ready for the next 6, or if you have a brick and mortar or a traditional business or a practice or something like that, we have a lot of doctors and medical professionals that come into my world. I seem to attract them. So if you're already someone who's done 6 figures and you're ready for your next 6, can you say, I'm ready for my next 6 in the comment section? Just so I can read the room. And there's another conversation available. There's a different type of dreamer, and there's a reason why it's called the 1%. There's a small handful of people that do actually have 7-figure ambitions, and this 3-day masterclass is speaking to the heart of that. So if you're someone who has 7-figure goals, in the comment section, can you write 7-figure goals for me? So just take a second, check in for me, let me know where you're at, and I'm just gonna see how everybody's feeling. Awesome. I see Dana, she's watching live. I see Joni, she said she's a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10 today. So I'm gonna try and hype you up today, girl. Dana said feeling about an 8 today. I like that. Trish Roberts is an 8 today. Here for that. Thank you, Ray Ray, about the hair. I love this haircut. I'm so glad. Louise, thank you. I feel like you could rock this too. This outfit is it's about the size of a nylon when you take it out of the package. My husband got me a ton of these because I love the whole vibe of them. Do you know when you go to the shoe store and you try on a pair of shoes and they have the little footy, like the little nylon thing that protects your foot, and then you put your foot in the shoe for the try on? This is like about that type of material. When you take it out of the package, it's like this big and it stretches over your whole body. They're amazing. This one is like a thong one. It's very sexy. I'm obsessed. This will look so good on you, girl. If I know you. Perfect. You guys dropped your integrations. All right. Thank you for helping me read the room. So we've got Kelly Wright. She says she's on her way to her first 6. Perfect. Joni Wild on her way to her first 6. Laura White on her way to her first 6. Tiffany Quinones on her way to her first 6. Yes. Sarah, is it Picaro? Is that how I say your name? I think so. On her way to her first 6. Yes. Trish said, my brain wants to tell me I'm on the way to 6. Perfect. But I'm seeing it show up in my bank yet. Well, we're going to make that happen. I just feel it. Kelly Wright is one of the people that has 7-figure goals. I identify with that. Thank you for being so brave as to share it. Haley said, ready for my next 6 and 7. She's got 7-figure ambitions. So Haley was part of a training earlier today called 7-Figure Secrets, and I have a very strong feeling that that's going to be happening in her world. I can see the pathway quite easily. Yeah. Hi, Melody. Hi, Lindsay. Perfect. Louise said, I'm on my way to my first 6. Perfect. Perfect. And I got Sarah's name right. I love it. All right. So today we're going to drop standard number 7 of getting to 7 figures in business. As we talked about in day number 1, the most important thing to getting to 7 figures is literally point number 1, which is acing the 6-figure habits. Acing the 6-figure habits. So we walked a whole journey and a whole pathway in the last 2 days talking about the standards and the principles, the things that take you from 6 figures to 7. First, you got to get to that 6. Now, we did all 6 points leading up to today. We're going to knock it out with point number 7. Point number 7, integration. So if you're live right now, write the word integration, and then in parentheses next to it, write the words feedback mechanism. Integration and feedback mechanism. This is the 7th principle, the 7th standard in scaling a business. I'm going to say something so interesting that we live in a day and age where these phones, everything is at your fingertips. You can become so financially independent. You can learn near anything in places like YouTube. There's so much free content from makers like myself, many of my peers. There's so many people that have free how-to videos, who create how-to videos as like their content, magnets. Huge fan of that. Can we all agree that you can learn a ton of stuff for free? That's the beauty of the information age. The information age is what sets our generation apart from our mothers and our grandmothers. Remember day one when I talked about the embodiment of a cash queen. It's the fact that it's not just about money, but this class that I'm doing right now today, I'm literally doing this for my grandmothers. I walked around my room today. I have photos, objects, hairbrush, perfume bottles. I literally have things from my grandmothers. And I walked across my room and I touched them today. And I asked for their help. I do what I do today for my grandmothers. I do it because they didn't have the information that we have. They didn't have the ability to just jump on Google and say, how do I, where do I, tutorial about, how-to video regarding, they didn't have what we have. The information age is what we grew up in. We grew up in places where you can literally find out anything. Anything. But there's a point where information is not enough. How many of you guys know what you're supposed to do and you don't do it? There's like a classic example. We know how we're supposed to take care of our bodies, exercise, what not to eat, what we should eat. We know what's good for us. We all know alcohol is a poison. Like, we know what to do. That's information. I know what to do. In theory. Integration is a whole different story. Do you see what I mean? So we're actually moving out of the information age. So if you're live, right, we're exiting the information age. We are leaving the information age and we're stepping into the integration age, aka embodiment. If you want a brand that scales to 6 and then scales to 7, you have to become a master of integration, which is beyond knowing what to do, but actually doing the fucking thing. That's integration. And this is where things get sneaky. I shared, like between day 1 and day 2, I talked about my own journey into the coaching industry and how in 2019 I hired, or, you know, I shouldn't say, I don't like the word hire anymore, but like I began my first relationship with a mentor who would mentor me in business closely. I joined her mastermind. It was a beautiful feedback loop for me. Not only did she have some information that I had never considered, she knew things that I didn't know, so there was information to be had, but there was also integration to be had there. When I joined the space, there was a content vault. Write that down in the comments right now. Write the word content vault. I want you to get that word deep into your spirit. Content vault. It was a gold mine. It was a treasure trove. It was so next level. So she had a content vault, and that was her information. How many of you have joined one of my programs and you get a content vault? That's information. The next level piece is integration. So on top of that content vault that I received when I became a client, she also would facilitate a call or a place to gather, a Zoom or someplace where I could go and I could say, okay, I listened to that information, but now I have questions on how to integrate. Can you tell me something specific to my company? Could you tell me how to make this work for my specific audience, price point, business plan? Could you help me with that? Having targeted, specific directives on how to integrate the information is the key. Is it landing? Are you tracking? Can you see the difference between just having the information and a vault to watch versus having a feedback mechanism for you to bring your specific questions to? It's integration that you want. Now, I also talked in day 1 and day 2 about that very first mentor that I hired, and that she allowed me to do a 3-month foray with her. Remember I told you how she said it was $37,000 for a year, and at that time my brain broke. I was like, who has that? Who just has 37K just laying around? That's where my brain was at that time. But I remembered being able to kind of just make sense of, yeah, I could do a few months with her, right? So that was a yes for me. Okay. So I did a 3-month stint with this particular mentor. And at the end of it, I didn't re-sign up. And it was one of the biggest mistakes that I can say in hindsight that I made as an entrepreneur. My ego got the best of me that time. They say the most dangerous thing about success is having a what? Fill in the blank. The most dangerous thing about success is having a little bit. So I did 3 months of really intensive learning of information, practical integration, being able to talk to this person and get a feedback loop going. And at the end of the 3 months, I was like, dang, I did really good. I got my money's worth. I know what I'm doing out here. Let's go. And I got a little bit too big for my britches in that moment. And I just was like, well, I don't really need to buy more. I get the program. I understand what she told me to do. I already have financial results from it. So I'm just going to lean into what I know and just keep on repeating the pattern. And then about 2 months later, more success was happening. And what happens with more success is more challenges. And I didn't have a feedback mechanism. I didn't have that conversation about how to integrate the new challenges that I was having. And so the business went up and then it went down. I found out about 9 months later that people had gotten a lot of results out of what I had been doing when I had that specific feedback mechanism in place. And I learned my lesson and I got my butt right back into another mastermind. But I look back at this pattern about how much people not only need information, but they also really require a feedback mechanism of integration. And for this reason is why Locked and Loaded is the way that it is. I'm curious, how many of you guys watch my reels? Did you see the one that I posted last night? Just out of curiosity. We did a site visit for Clear to Soar. So my team and I were out at the Westin in downtown Atlanta, which is where we'll be meeting for Clear to Soar. So excited for it. Like, you don't even know the feeling. It's so good. So my team and I were there, and we set up microphones and we ordered room service, and we just sat there and had like a sleepover, kind of like a dialogue, and we filmed the whole thing. And as I was sitting there, talking with them, we got some great content. So that's coming out. And then I also posted a reel last night about why I don't believe in short-term masterminds. Did you guys see that? It's like the pink shirt reel. So it's kind of sandwiched between the sleepover reels. It's a reel with a pink shirt, and I'm talking about the fact that I used to offer people 3-month stints. I used to offer people what my first coach offered me. I couldn't wrap my mind around doing a year, so she just let me do 3 months, which was kind, but in the end, it was a disservice. Why? When you're integrating, those first 90 days of information and integration, they're rough. It is what it is. It's like learning how to do a workout or learning a new way of eating or your first 90 days with a new baby, right? Your first 90 days of anything is a huge calibration period. Any of my clients from Locked and Loaded will tell you Q1 with me, where you're learning how to create reels and you are getting better at showing up as a personal brand and you're getting all the little pieces of tech together and you're figuring out what your message is and you're curating your offers. It's a calibration period. Your body's getting used to a new level of stress. Your brain is getting new information. You're doing it messy, trying new things. Those first 90 days, can anyone attest to this who's in my masterminds? The first 90 days, they feel like, wow, it's kind of a lot. I used to offer people 12-week masterminds, and what I found out was at the end of your first 90 days is about the worst time ever to have to decide whether you're going to renew your commitment to having a feedback loop and integration in your life. Why? 90 days in, most people are just starting to get traction. Most people are just starting to really develop their ideas. And for a lot of people, it can be a big nervous system like dysregulation to go like, oh my God, I'm just starting to see results, but can I financially justify continuing? Or can I make it on my own? Which is exactly where I was at in 2019 when I decided not to continue. I was like, I got this. I will tell you, only this year, right now, am I closing the loop on the things that coach told me in 2019. Only right now. 4 years later. Think about that. Where would I be if I never stopped with that feedback loop? Where would I be if I never stopped with integration and having a feedback mechanism? A coach, a mentor, someone who was a little bit ahead of me that I could bring my challenges to, that I could bring my progress to, that I could say, hey, this is what I've tried so far. I followed the information you told me. Now, specifically, how do I make this work with my offer? What if I hadn't stopped? See, I don't really have regrets, but I do have questions. So the 7th standard in scaling your business to 6 figures and then scaling it to 7 is you want really healthy feedback loops. You want integration mentors. Sometimes just watching the information can help you to an extent, but there comes a point where you have targeted questions about you, and this is where the gold mines are. This is where you crush the time delay. This is where you can collapse time around results, is by saying, okay, I'm at this part. I don't exactly know what to do next. Can you help me? How do I say this? How do I execute this? Do you have any resources around this challenge that I'm having? So having a mentor, a mastermind, feedback loops for integration, this is the thing. I've been in continuous mentorship of some sort since February 2019. I haven't had a gap. Sorry, February 2020. I haven't had a gap. I typically sign up for year-long mentorships with people. That's my typical. Think about this, guys. Yes, I've worked with 30 mentors, but I'm not trying to just mentor hop. I've got that legacy mindset. What can I do in a whole year? What results are going to outlast this arrangement that I'm in right now? When I joined a mastermind while I was pregnant for $120,000, I wasn't just interested in what would happen that year. I gave myself personal responsibility to 10x that investment within the following year. And I did it. And still, because what do we know? Once you know it, you fill in the blank. Once you know it, you know it. My first mentors taught me some six-figure skills. I figured out a lot of the six-figure skills on my own with some crappy first years in business. And then I started learning seven-figure skills. And once you know them, you know them. So the things that I invested in, over $100K to learn, it was a business model. Once you know it, you know it. And you can use it to keep on escalating. But notice something. Just because I learned seven-figure skills after a year with one mentor doesn't mean that I pulled back. I've been in consistent mentorship of some sort, whether it's masterminds, whether it's the equivalent of a locked and loaded, whether it's a private mentorship, whether it's multiple mentors at once, certifications. I've been in it continuously nonstop because I want to have integration feedback loops. I want to have places where I can say, okay, I heard what you said. I took the information, I implemented it, and now I'm kind of up against a wall. Something has stagnated. I need some refinement. What can you say to me about my brand? This kind of a relationship is worth its weight in gold. And this right here is why we developed Locked and Loaded. So at the end of today, we have some Q&A that I'm going to go through as promised, but at the end of today, I'm going to walk you through some stuff around Locked and Loaded, because having every single piece of this, the six-figure skills, the mindset work, the feedback mechanisms, laser coaching on your own brand, not only information, but integration, this is why we have Locked and Loaded set the way that it is. So at the end of today, expect that we're going to be talking more about Locked and Loaded. And before we get into the Q&A, we're going to close out this little section. So point number 7 is integration, having feedback loops. I would say have them nonstop. Know that if you're going to rise in business, so are the challenges. You want people in play to help you, to give you feedback. You want feedback mechanisms from people that are ahead of you, who really care about you. Okay, so that's point number 7. Now, we're going to move into Q&A, but I woke up with just a feeling. I have a feeling. I had a feeling to ask about this before I move forward, because my team and I are doing something tremendous this weekend with a handful of people. I'm curious, is there anyone in here who watched day 1 and day 2? You heard about the promos. You heard about the Clear to Soar ticket. You heard about the $12,000 exclusive offer that comes with Locked and Loaded right now. Is there anyone who's just on the cusp of thinking about doing this? If you'd be so brave as to tell me, just write the words "on the cusp" in the comments. Let me know, because I have something flipping incredible for you this weekend if you're on the cusp. But you got to tell me. It's something worth a $5,000 value that my team and I are just privately doing behind the scenes for people who are on the cusp of Locked and Loaded. But you got to say something in the comments. So if you're on the cusp and you're like, no, I think I want in here, I think I want to do it, you have to say "on the cusp" so that my team knows they're going to send you something. Okay, So I had a feeling to ask and just check the temperature of the room. Okay. So without further ado, we've got our 7 standards wrapped. I'm going to go into some masterclass Q&A as promised. I don't always do this, but such a vibe. I thought I would do it this time. And if you have questions while we're live, go ahead and drop them in. I can see them on this phone. I don't know why my comments won't kick in on this phone. Maybe I'll just need to comment a whole bunch. That would be nice. Oh my gosh, Haley! I would love that. Haley said, my heart craves the year with you as I integrate. I would love that. Yes! Perfect. You know what? This brings up something interesting. So Haley said, point number 7, she said, this makes so much sense. I got into information overload and needed the integration piece. So this is the cool thing about integration that I'm obsessed with. So say you're in a place like Locked and Loaded. I'm going to consider this the first question, actually. Say you're in a place like Locked and Loaded. Immediately when you join, you get a vault of content. So we already have 6 months of content in the vault immediately. So when you join, you get a login and you have a vault of content. The dope thing about having an integration feedback loop is that as like the holder of the space, my team and I can ask you, what's your like pressing 3 most important things that you want to solve right now? And based on what you say to us, we can say, okay, go watch this and bring me back your questions. Instead of you jumping into the library and being like, what do I do first, right? So first of all, it's in a sequence, but if you're someone who's like, no, just tell me what to do, that's one feedback loop. Okay, go watch Module 3 of Iconic, bring me back your thoughts, and we'll jam on this. I love that. Okay, so the Q&A, my team printed out what was sent in. First question that came out, go ahead and drop me lightning bolts if you guys are down for this Q&A. I love it. I love a good laser coach. It lets you guys see what it's like being in my world. Okay, so the first one is time management. What question or nudges did you often not listen to that were actually your body and soul telling you that a break was necessary? Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so transparently, we did a lot of things to get to the $1 million year. It was a personal goal of mine to hit $1 million of revenue in a year. That really mattered to me. And so I was working with probably 3 consistent mentors at the same time. So I had someone that was around emotional intelligence. I had someone that was around intimacy and relationships. And I had someone that was around strategy and business. And it was mostly organic strategy. And so seeing how all of their business models were, it was all organic strategy. And they seemed to sell no shit, like 16 to 30 offers at once. So at any time, you could go into any of these mentors like offer suites in their world, and there was like a smorgasbord of stuff to buy. And last year in Q4, I was really watching their models, and I decided to try that. I was like, you know what? If that's what it took to get us to like $1 million, I would sell more things. I would more diversify my offer suite. I would sell a lot of different stuff in stories. I'd sell a lot of low ticket and see what happens. I'll do retreats. I'll do a New Year's Eve retreat. I'll sell private coaching calls. I'll let people buy short masterminds. I'll do short packages, right? So by the end of Q4, we had probably 30 different offers being sold at one time. And I personally was pushing my own limits because Maeve wasn't even really done nursing yet. And I was like, used to my body. So someone write the words, my body in the comments because everyone is different. So this is, I'm not going to say this to you to create a limiting belief. I'm just telling you about my body. My body likes to work a maximum of 5 hours a day. I'm a creative. I'm a lover. I need thinking time. I'm better when I have some free time. I'm a better person. I'm a better human. I'm a better mentor. I'm a better content creator. I'm a better leader when I have space to decompress. And in Q4 of last year, I fully just was like, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to try doing more. And by the end of Q4, my body was like, fuck you. My body did not like it at all. And I knew it. And I can say I listened. So you're asking, when did I not listen? I can't tell you that I didn't listen because I'm intentional about listening. But I gave myself 90 days to see if I could acclimate. And at the end of those 90 days, I had a New Year's Eve retreat. I was there with some of my most favorite clients. And me and one of my clients sat on the couch. I probably had 6 champagnes and I was crying because I only made $960 last year. And at that point, I was like, that is a ludicrous, ridiculous, I can't believe you feel that way, first world problem. And it was highly influenced by one of those mentors I was working with. And that was when I decided to make a massive shift this year. So you'll notice some things. I listened to my body, and that's how we got to where we are today. You'll notice there is no private coaching available in my world. I do not take one-to-one appointments anymore. There's a small, tight handful of people that have bought programs for this year that included private coaching, and they're the only people that get private calls with me. You'll notice that got taken off the calendar because my body said, enough. You'll notice that I wear blue light blockers almost every day when I'm on camera because my body started getting migraines. My body was like, enough. Get off the Zoom. Don't do so many deliverables. You need to work less. And my body told me, and I listened. You'll also notice that I used to have another mastermind. So I have Locked and Loaded, which is my baby, right? But you're going to see me celebrating. We have a closure this month of what's called $1 Million Mentorship. So we had the $1 Million Mentorship Mastermind, and it's run for about 18 months. It's been about 1.5 years, I believe. I'll have to double check the months, but I've had a super high level mastermind, and we sold extensions to that space that end at the end of this month. And we always knew that that was when that extension ended, but you'll notice I'm literally not reopening it. There you go. Angela said, yep, exactly. It was 1.5 years. So it's 1.5 years, and the people that were in it, I'm going to know them in 20 years. Like, we did some work up in there. It was amazing. And also, like, my body's like, you know what? We're just going to take the summer and calibrate. So this summer, I'm literally from the time I wake up in the morning until 12, there will be nothing on my calendar. It might stay that way. So you got to listen to, like, what amount of work is your body available for? How much can you integrate personally? And I leaned into this really hard. I told some of my clients today, it feels like pulling back an arrow, because it feels scary for a second to be like, oh, okay, so like I have the Millionaire's Desk, not renewing, MDM, not renewing, selling short-term masterminds, not available, one-to-one coaching, taking it off the menu. And so logically, it would seem like you're literally pulling back financially. But the thing is, when you are potently who you are and where you're supposed to be, you pull that arrow back and then you end up flying. Because the thing that you're actually super aligned to do, you have a shit ton more space to do it. So the people that have been in these spaces, Millionaire's Desk and MDM, I know that I'm going to know these people in 20 years. Like, I know that we did excellent work together. I don't take it back for a minute. But what I realized was back in that season when I had people telling me to sell so many offers to get to an end result, I realized that that's not really the only way to get to the end result. And I actually prefer to do less work and more potently with more value than to spread myself thin doing one-off appointments where it actually underserves the client because they never get the integration down. So expect in my world, everything is going to be a year. When you sign up for something, it's going to be a year. It's just a year. There will be no short-term shit. There will be no one-off appointment. Like, if we're going to build something, we're going to build something real. And we're going to know each other, and we're going to go deep, because that's what I do in my world. So this is one place where my body talked to me, and I listened to the nudge. And instead of feeling like, oh, I'm financially resetting, and oh, I'm in lack, it was like, no, actually, we're going to refine a couple real good offers. And then we're going to... Great question. Also, next week, I'll be completely like off work. You'll see me creating content because I love it, but I'm going to be off work. I listen to my body. I rest. I'm going to the beach for a whole week for my birthday. So good. My birthday's next week. Okay, so question 2. What are your favorite ways to recharge your soul and channel your innermost creativity? So I'm a beach babe, big time. I need the beach. I need water. They say that spiritual channels, you do much better being in water. So I go to the beach. We don't live by a beach, so it's a day trip driving there. It's a day trip coming back. But in the last year or so, we've experimented a lot. We have favorite places that we go, like around the Emerald Coast down in Florida, and we've tried out a bunch of different like condos and types of hotels and stays, and we finally settled on places that we really like, that we just know there's no question about it. When we get there, we freaking love it. Oh my God, Sarah, we're almost birthday twins. I'm the 25th. Happy birthday, girl. Love that. So yeah, I like to go to the water as many times as possible. We actually, this year, if you're in Locked and Loaded and you go back and you see prequel, I plan a year of success out of the gates. I know what I'm doing for a whole year from January 1st. So every single month in our calendar, we have a family and like team getaway. So our team, we strategically give them like PTO for mental health. So everyone gets mental health days, because that's big in my world. I also, on my calendar, I take at least one getaway weekend a month where we get out. Sometimes we just say our whole team is off. Like, we're going to be off the radar. Can't help you. Like, that happens sometimes. And we just leave and go recharge, because it's what we need. So I go to the water. That's my spot, girl. And when I can't go to the beach, I go to my bathtub or the woods. Question number 3. Do you feel that everyone should follow the same launching sequence, or are there variations depending on your service niche? Yes. I think after the 7-figure secrets today, I think you understand that on a deeper level. There's levels to this stuff. There's like B2C, there's B2B, there's social media launches, there's a whole bunch of different kinds of launches that you could do. There are basics that just work, and then there's nuance for your field. So yeah, but I think you know. Haley was in 7-figure secrets this morning. It was real good. And by the way, that's open right now for purchase. It is a year-long experience, but we're like 7 months in. So if you buy 7-figure secrets, it's a monthly installments thing. We meet every month and do a workshop on what our brand is doing right now at the 7-figure level to scale. And so you learn a lot about business, social media, and strategy. So if you're looking for like a micro place to learn that stuff, 7-figure secrets is where it's at. It's like $179 a month or something like that. Super cheap, super inexpensive, but high value. Question 4. Where have you found / how did you find places and spaces that developed leadership and put you into higher elevated conversations and rooms? Okay, so this is an abstract answer, but I think it comes down to when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Because if I dial back through and I try to think of where I met all of my different mentors, it's a lot of different places. Some were personal referrals, some I saw on someone else's video, some was a Facebook ad, some I found scrolling, right? Like they're kind of, it's a mishmash of like, how do I find my resources? I think that I think I attract them. I think when there's staleness, so right, staleness in the comments, if you catch my drift, there's literally like a stagnancy or like a stale energy that I'll begin to feel. And it's always a good sign for me whenever I feel very bored, whenever I feel very frustrated. Those are typically signs for me that I have outgrown a season. So I don't make it mean anything about me. I don't make it mean anything about other people. I'm literally like happy when stuff starts to stagnate and feel stale, because I know that that's about to be the arrow getting pulled back and flying forward. So when I'm ready for a next move, it feels like the teacher just shows up. When I'm committed to getting the next breakthrough, I think everything aligns for me. When there's a deep question in my heart about like, how do I find the answer for the next breakthrough? This is feeling stale. I'm feeling bored. Everything looks the same. I'm ready for a breakthrough. The teacher always appears. So I find them in a million different ways. It's just my readiness that I think draws them in, which is interesting. And it makes me think about all of you that have watched this live. You've had hundreds of views on these videos, and I just wonder, what is it in you, your own beacon of light, of readiness, that drew you to this space? I'm always curious what's going on in your worlds that brought you here and brought us together. I treasure it. Question 5. With leadership development, how did you know when it was challenging you, when it was not for you, and when it was not for you yet? Freaking good question. There's a resonance, and that's a vague word, but there's a resonance to like abuse and manipulation and dismissiveness and talking down to people and making people feel small that I just cannot be with. And so whenever that comes up in a coach or leadership, I just know it's not for me. It's an automatic no. It doesn't matter how long I've been in that world. It doesn't matter how many results they have. If there's that resonance, I just have to peace out. So that's when I know it's not for me. I can tell with leadership development when it's just challenging me. This is a good one. If I feel jealous. If I feel jealous, or if I feel a fear about taking the next move because I feel small, I know it's just challenging me. I figured out the jealousy thing a while ago because we rent. So everything behind me, this whole house, we're going to be one of those stories that literally goes from, oh yeah, they were renters in Georgia and now they own some multi-million-dollar fucking badass compound. Like, that's going to be our story. Goodbye. Like, that's going to be our story. So we're renters. I have no shame in my game about that, but I used to. And I met somebody who was making less money than me and spending exorbitantly, wildly, crazy, and just buying themselves whatever they wanted. And their house was so fancy and cute. And I thought to myself, how dare you? You make less than me. Why are you living all high on the hog like you're a fucking princess? And I was like, oh, you're jealous. Oh, because you want that. So it taught me a lot. And then I just started treating myself better and buying myself nice things. And I zhuzhed up this place that we rent, and I felt shit tons better about it, right? But I think now that I know what that frequency is of just being jealous of someone and noticing that I get triggered when people have things that I don't have and I'm just feeling small, that's when I know that leadership development is challenging me. Yeah, jealousy teaches us about what we desire all day long. So if I'm with leadership and I feel jealous of them, I just ask myself like, where are you feeling small right now and how can we change that? Where are you feeling like you're playing small, you're getting less, you're receiving less, and let's change your receivership. So when I felt that way about our house, I just literally came home and I hired painters and I bought different levels of furniture and I bought, the types of agates that I wanted all over my house, and I upgraded the textiles and bought plants and just elevated the whole space, spent tons of money on the interiors of our house. That made me feel better because I was feeling very small. I was feeling not important. So that's the question. Where are you playing small and how can we shore that up? When I'm working with leadership that's maybe kicking my ass in business and I'm feeling very small and that's triggering me, I look at that and I ask myself, okay, well, where are you playing small? Where do you see yourself as smaller than them? Because if you see yourself as a grasshopper, you're going to act like a grasshopper and people are going to treat you like a grasshopper. So where are you feeling small and how can we elevate out of that with receivership? So I'm big on self-care. I'm big on experience. I'm big on VIP experiences. If I'm starting to feel like a little small fry, I treat myself better. And weirdly, it always helps. Does anyone relate to that? It's like, I'm not feeling seen or important. Well, I can make myself feel really seen and important by giving myself a VIP experience today, and I'm going to feel a shit ton better. My whole frequency is going to go up, and probably so will my sales. It's an infinity loop. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and I think when I know that it's not for me yet, I think if it's not for me yet, it's not even on my radar. Like I'll try to listen to it and it'll just be like, I'm just like, no, I'm not there yet. There are certain, it comes down to frequency too. So like everyone has a resonance. The frequency that you're on, it literally has an energetic resonance. And we find who we're going to be with based on our frequency. So weirdly, if you have a trauma frequency that's unhealed, you literally will have repeats of all your relationships until you heal that, because that frequency and that resonance in you is like a homing beacon for other people that have that. Versus if you have a wealth frequency and you've transcended wealth and you're just money making as a part of you, you have a homing beacon. Your desire literally shoots out like a homing beacon. Like, where can I find other people who are like this? And then you end up in conversations like this. Right? So everyone has like a resonance and a frequency. There are certain teachers that my friends will send me and they'll be like, oh my God, you have to watch that. And I'll listen to a couple, seconds of it. And like the resonance of it is like, feels like it's from Mars, because I'm not there yet. So that's usually a good sign to me. Like there's literally no gravitational pull between me and that teacher. And I'm just like, I'm just not ready for it yet. It says nothing about them, says nothing about me. We're just on different frequencies right now. That's okay. Great question, by the way. Just, if you guys are digging this, can you drop me lightning bolts? Is this fun for you all to do like the Q&A style deal? I'm a big fan of it. Big fan. Question 6, what are your favorite ways to develop and grow your emotional intelligence? Oh, God. First one is awareness. So I teach inside my programs like Iconic, and actually all my programs, like I teach about the frequency of emotions and just having awareness around it. It's kind of like tracking. And I talk about tracking a lot because we do a lot of tracking in Locked and Loaded. Tracking is a huge feedback mechanism. Oh my gosh, tracking should have been number 7. Why did I not think of that? Too late. Principle number 8 is tracking. So awareness is a big key. So if you want to know why your body is the way that it is, you track. You get an Aura ring, you track your body, you track your sleep cycles, you might track your macros, you track your activity levels, you track your recovery, you track your heart rate. That's how you find out how you got where you are right now and what you can do to fix it. Same thing with emotions. For a long time, I tracked my frequency of my emotions on a daily basis just because I was just like, where am I hanging out? And if you can get aware of it, you can shift it. But I have a whole program on that. It's called Iconic. It's in the vault. And we've been adding to that a lot lately. We've even been bringing it into our copywriting program. So cool. So cool. Question number 7. What are some ways you kept the faith when it was planting season / audience growth mode? You know, that's a rough season. What I did to keep the faith is I watched a lot of content around success stories. I don't know if you guys are wired like this too, but I watched and I still watch other people's success stories because it feeds me. I listened to people like TD Jakes. He's actually like a mega church pastor, but he would talk about his rags to riches journey and like cleaning the building that he first bought, like that hero's journey pathway to become who he is today. I would feed myself with other people's success stories. I listened to podcasts and free content, and I put myself in front of coaches that would talk about money and talk about what it took to get to where they are, similar to what we talked about these last 3 days. I don't know if any of you felt it, but just raise of hands in the comments if you felt like hearing this felt like a hero's journey. When a coach or a mentor will tell you, this is the gravity of what it took. This is what it felt like on the way. This is what I wished I would have changed. And here's where I am today. Right? So I like the hero's journey. I like people who will tell me, this part was bullshit. This part is amazing. Here's what you can do to crush the time delay. Here are my lessons. I watched the movie Joy like 9,000 times because it had to do with like manufacturing and media and like just a lot of things that I aspire to do. To this day, I watch documentaries like what was that one? Something about dance. The word dance was in it, but it was like the Chicago Bulls documentary. And I recently watched the Tupac documentary. Like, there's just so many. I watch other people's success stories and it feeds me hope. It literally normalizes the suck. The Last Dance. Yes, Raven, that was the name of it. Watching other people's rags to riches stories normalizes the suck. I almost always cry when I watch these stories, still to this day, because I see people taking uncommon risk, having uncommon commitment, having uncommon faith, doing things against the odds, staying in it when it doesn't make sense. That's what keeps me going in the planting season, because I'm like, oh, this is normal. Oh my God, I'm not crazy. Other people did this too, and they won. Perfect. I'll keep going. The other thing that I'll say about the planting season is you want to have a feedback mechanism in place when you're in the planting season. Because here's the fuckery about the planting season is there's a lot of people who say just keep on going, keep on going, keep on going, keep on doing what you're doing. But there's also a level where if you keep on doing the same thing that wasn't working, you're insane. So you have to have what are called time constraints. You have to have bookends on your planting season where you're like, okay, I'm going to do this for 90 days straight. And then I'm going to look at what happened and I'm going to pivot accordingly. And it's good to have other eyes on your stuff who can help you with the pivot and help you during the planting season. Like look over my shoulder. Am I planting this right? Am I messing this up on the way? You don't want to be doing the wrong thing for 90 days straight. So you want to have a feedback mechanism in place, AKA a coach, AKA a mastermind, AKA someone looking over your stuff who's ahead of you who could say, okay, flip this a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Raven from my team said, if you're doing the wrong thing and you keep on going, it's never going to get better. Been there, do not recommend. 0 out of 5 stars. Exactly. Yeah, it is that feeling of like, just keep grinding. Well, if your grind is wrong, you're going to be not where you want to be in 4 years. That was my first 4 years in business. Ask me how I know. Perfect. God, these are good questions. Next question is, what are some, oh no, I just answered that one. Question number 8 is, how did you overcome the debt diet mindset where you now leverage other people's money for sustainable growth? Okay, this is a great question because I want to bring in a concept that our team is doing. We just made the choice to start offering third-party financing for our mastermind. Just think about that. I literally believe in using other people's resources so much that I'm like, I want to make it even easier for people to do that in my world. I'm going to explain it with food, because you'll notice I'm doing a body transformation right now, looking good out here, okay? When I first started working with my fitness person, she told me that most people, by the time that they come to her, they have been chronically under eating for years, and that's why their body's in the state that it's in. So that no matter what things they try, their body will be completely resistant to the effort. The body is literally nutritionally starving because of years of being on a diet. The body is literally shut down. When I started working with this mentor, she told me there's a specific number of weeks out of a year that you should ever even be in a deficit. And she also told me you are only allowed to be in a deficit of calories for this long on my program, and then you have to go back to eating normally. You cannot stay in a diet for an extended period of time. You will screw all of your results. You will not build muscle. You will not increase your leverage to increase your metabolism, because muscle builds metabolism. She literally was like, you can't stay on a diet. So first, we're going to overeat for months to turn your metabolism back online. And wouldn't you know, I lost 10 pounds overeating strategically on macros. But I was like, this is more food than I've eaten in a long fucking time. I'm kind of nervous about this. It's actually hard to do. Wow. And my body just started shredding. And then once my metabolism was back online, I did this for months. We didn't even start lifting weights until I was like on month maybe 3 or 4. And then we strategically started putting things in place to bring muscle back online. And we started playing with the macros again. Think of this in terms of money. Okay, watch this. If you do a debt diet, like the debt snowball or whatever, and you become obsessed with how little you can spend, that becomes the goal. It's like dieting. How little can I eat to survive? Eventually, if you stay in debt reduction mode and trying to live off the leanest you possibly can financially, your whole life calibrates to shutdown mode. Think about building muscle like building wealth. You can't build wealth when your whole frequency is in shutdown mode. You're on a terminal debt diet, and you cannot expand wealth when you're down on a debt diet. Your whole frequency is like, how little can I spend? So you end up accidentally not taking the right risk. Case in point, let's talk about Kajabi. Let's talk about coaching. Say you want to build to a 7-figure brand. You're going to need probably a great mentor. You're going to need some information. You're going to need a feedback loop, a coach. Probably going to need a global platform to put your shit on, like Kajabi, because you can't just host everything on the internet. Sorry. You're going to need probably a new iPhone. You're going to need a ring light, probably a MacBook, some tools. You might need to hire a personal assistant. There's stuff that you have to literally invest out the gates. But if you're living in a reality of how little can I spend? Oh my gosh, I can't spend $200 more. How can I live on little, less? You're accidentally staying in lack mode. Because in the grand scheme of things, if making this investment up front, let's just use $22,000 for Locked and Loaded. Like, girl, what you learned in Locked and Loaded can literally make you like $500,000. No shit. You want to mess around and activate on everything? Forget 10xing your investment. Like, you can crush it with what you learned in Locked and Loaded. And in the grand scheme of things, if you're going to make $500,000 over a few years with what you learned in Locked and Loaded, what is $22,000? It would literally be self-sabotage not to. It would be self-destructive to not make the move. But a debt diet mindset will have you thinking, I just shouldn't do it because what can I do? I can go watch more free masterclasses. I can take that information and like I can go do something with it. And you might can get some success off of that. Listen to me sounding like a Southerner. You might can get a little success, but it's kind of silly in the grand scheme of things. You might make 10K off of what you learn in a free masterclass. I've done it. Or you might can make 150K plus off of a $20,000 investment. You could fuck around and make 500,000. It's really self-destructive, that mindset, because it just forever keeps you in like, how little can I live on? What can I survive on? Versus, if I invest, what can I become? So I had to rework this entire mindset. So think about what I did with the body transformation. It was about how I did this with money was in about 2020 when that thing happened where I was jealous of somebody's house. I was like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I living on the bare minimums when I literally make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year? Why am I suffering living in this house? Why am I letting it affect my energy? Why am I punishing myself? Do I think that I deserve that? What am I doing? So I went overboard, kind of like my coach had me overeat. I went overboard on spending. I said, fuck it, give me a loan. I got a $150,000 loan shortly thereafter. I expanded our brand. I got a bigger coach, and it felt uncomfortable. Just like eating more food felt uncomfortable. To spend more money after I had been like in the debt snowball life for like 6 years, it felt really uncomfortable. I was like, this is awkward. Like it doesn't feel quite right. And on the other side of that investment, you have who I am today. So now I know, okay, I can't live in this question mark of what can I afford. I ask myself, if I invested into this expansion, how big can it expand? And I go for that. I'm at a point in my life where if something pulls on me, I make really concerted efforts to make it happen. I'm more concerned with what 5 and 10 years down the road looks like if I don't make the move. So, weird question for any of you guys thinking about joining Locked and Loaded. What does your 5 years from now look like if you don't do it versus if you do? That's how I got out of the debt thing. Who can I become if I do it? What could happen if I try? Like, dude, money's freaking weird. Like, it's always going to be there. You'll always find it if you want it. Be more concerned with who you are in 5 years if you don't. That's how I got out of this. Ooh, Kelly. I love you. Kelly said, man, if I didn't invest in Locked and Loaded, I would definitely not be here today. Kelly's crushing it. Kelly is going to be doing the, like at Clear to Soar, y'all on your table, just to set the stage. When you come to Clear to Soar, we're going to be doing a lot of activations. We're going to be doing somatic activations, like full body activations. We're going to be doing a lot of future vision casting, goal setting, a lot of deep work, some emotional stuff. And so when you get there, you're going to actually have like a journaling thing at your table. And Kelly's going to be designing that. She does a lot of work in terms of creating digital products, formatting books. She's very talented in that arena. So if you have the pleasure to be at Clear to Soar, you get to see some of her work. And she's one of our graduates of Locked and Loaded. She's a beast. Okay, next question. We're almost to the end of these. Let's see. Question 9, can you talk more about energetics of money? You stated that in your bank account, you like to have a certain amount of money and will use debt. Can you elaborate? I sure the fuck can. Here you go. Okay. So, this week, my team let me know that we had a $10,000 invoice that I didn't know was coming, just by the way. And I have what I call an energetic minimum in my bank account. So write that in the chat, right? Energetic minimum. I have an energetic minimum in my bank account. So I have a certain amount that makes me feel abundant and safe and resourced. And it's in the multi-five figures in our business. We have several accounts that I like to keep, in the multi-fives. And then my own personal account is completely separate from that. And I have much bigger energetic minimums there. So I have an energetic minimum in my account. And we got this bill for $10,000. And my team was like, hey, we got to pay this bill. And I was like, first of all, I didn't know that was coming. So that's surprising. And then they're like, yeah, but we need to pay it because it's 7 days past due. And I was like, I didn't even know it was there. But then again, I don't check emails. So that's a whole different story. My team does emails. They do the best that they can to keep me informed. And sometimes I just don't know. So they're like, yeah, it's like 7 days past due. I said, first of all, I didn't know it was coming. That's number one. I wasn't planning on this expense. Number 2, 3, I feel like I just heard about it and it's 7 days past due. And 4, my energetic minimum is going to be like swiped into if I pay this today. So I have 2 options. I can throw it on a credit card if I feel like it because I don't want my cash leaving my account. I don't. Or I can just say, hey, can we hit you with this in 7 days? And I can go find $10,000. Because your girl can find $10,000, trust me. I can go make $10,000. I can teach you the skill. Like if my life depended on it and I woke up on a random Friday and I needed $10,000, I could go make $10,000. I know how to make money. On the internet, no feet pics. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, well, I can either put it on a credit card or we can just ask for more time. Want to ask for more time? And we just said, hey, can we give this to you next week? And they said, yeah, of course. But a younger version of me would have been afraid. A younger version of me would have been like, oh my God, they're going to think I'm broke. I look like a bad person. I'm late. I better just put it on my card. Right? A younger version of me would have gotten scared into paying it immediately, if not sooner. And the me of today is like, no, I like a certain amount of money in my accounts. I didn't know that this was coming. It was kind of a surprise. Can you let us know next time? Number 1. Number 2, like, I want to keep my cash. I'll go find some more money to pay this bill. Give me about 7 business days. I'll get you your 10K. Do you see the thing? That's why I'm here for debt. That's why, for example, when I was pregnant for baby Maeve, I pulled out a $150,000 loan for my business, including some coaching that I was getting, because I didn't want to be under the gun financially while I was pregnant. So I used other people's money, padded my bank account with it, use those resources for things like my coaching bill, any business growth that we had, payroll, whatever was needing to come up, because I didn't want to be stressed out while I was in a growth phase, both with my body and with my brand. I'm here for it. I'm here for using other people's money. I have no problem with it. I know that I'm a great investment. I know that I'm going to make the money back. I have zero qualms about that. So speaking of that, if you're someone who wanted to do Locked and Loaded or something else with us, reach out to my team, because we are now aligned with a third-party financer. Just saying. Okay. Question 10. What requirements do you have for brand collaborations? That is a huge, big question. But one of the biggest ones that I can tell you is I have to vet them, and more than likely they should be a graduate of my programs. That's one thing I can tell you. Number 11, what inspired you to sell other than coaching or makeup? This is a question from Erica. What did you mean by that? What inspired you to sell other than coaching or makeup? What do you mean? I don't understand the question. So that was our last question. Raven said, I love your high level of belief in yourself, Xtina. I know I'm a great investment. I do. And you know, that came from a track record of investing big and literally putting my back against the wall a couple of times. I had no other way out. I had to make it work, and I made it work, and it just increased my confidence. This is why I'm not a big believer in the whole feminine energetics movement that kind of misguides people into thinking that everything should be easy and you'll lay in your bubble bath and manifest $9,000 million. I'm like, no, there have been specific times where I made huge investments. My back was against the wall. I had to make it work. No one was coming to save me, and it increased my confidence. I cannot stand those bubbles in my eyes, right? So like, it increases confidence to put in the work, show yourself what you're made of, and then the next time you're like, yes, of course. I'm tolerant of risk because I know that I'm a good risk. Let's go. I'll win or I'll learn. Either way, it's a win. Let's go. This is what gives me the balls to put on a conference that's probably going to cost us $100,000 and sell tickets to it after I pay for it. Ballsy. Guts. I know I'm a good investment. Okay. Oh yeah. So Erica said, what inspired you to do the cups, the shirt on your website? Well, I wanted to do swag for our clients anyways. I love a good swag. So if you're in Locked and Loaded or other masterminds of mine, we have gifts that we give at certain income levels, such as the cups, the shirts. We have bags. We have different things that come through when you make $10,000, $15,000, $25,000, $50,000, right? So I wanted to do those. But I also know that there's people who will just see me wearing the hat and they'll just want to buy it. They won't have any understanding that this is like, oh, this is a milestone for hitting 15,000 in your brand. They won't get it. They'll just be like, where'd you get that hat? And I wanted to capitalize on the fact that people might want to buy it. So I put it on our website because I like money. That's what inspired me. Perfect. All right, ladies. Well, that was the last question. So I'm going to close this experience out. I didn't do my ring light right. I have to just leave those off. Anyways, I'm going to close this out with a final opportunity for you. It's actually 2 opportunities. 1, you can take everything that we talked about the last 3 days and you can go take it out into the world as my gift to you and go crush it. That is your opportunity. That's what this place is built for. Elevate your context. 2, opportunity number 2. We have Locked and Loaded, and the doors are open to it right now. We have a specific number of people that we are allowing in this weekend. I'm so excited for it for a couple different reasons. 1, Locked and Loaded, which is my mastermind 12 months. It includes all of the programs in my vault. There's thousands of dollars of programs currently in the vault right now. Any paid programs that I launch for the next continuous 12 months are yours with this, as well as a 365-day mastermind where I pop in every single week to give you a feedback mechanism. Every single week. With this, you also have an opportunity one day every month to fully just mastermind the whole day long with me about anything that's coming up in your personal success and in your brand. So I designed the mastermind that I would have wanted. I became the leader that I wanted to experience, and that's what Locked and Loaded is. And it's amazing for building personal brand. Now, Locked and Loaded as a product will be $50,000 later this summer. We have added to it tremendously. It gets better and better every single month. The context is elevating, people are graduating, their successes are rising, and I know what I've created here, and the value of it actually should be about $100,000 for this mastermind. It's currently only $22K, and I know that I'm underpricing it. However, I have this thing in my heart about wanting to give people an opportunity who could never do it at $50K, or who believe that they could never do it at $50K. I should reframe that. And so we have it listed at $22K for a very limited amount of time. After this masterclass is done, like through the weekend, we're gonna bump the price up to $25K. So if you're thinking about joining, just know every month, all summer long, the price is gonna go up until it's $50,000. Right now it's a steal. It's legitimately nuts, a steal. It's a $50,000 mastermind for $22K. This weekend, we're doing something really special. So we have event promos right now that are gonna end tonight at 6 p.m. Where if you join Locked and Loaded paid in full, you get a VIP ticket to Clear to Soar. You also get a mastermind with me worth $12,000. So it's a $37,000 value that you're getting for a pay in full of just $22K. So that's good for today. If you're thinking about Locked and Loaded, you want to make a move. And I also want to offer one more opportunity. If you're on the cusp, if you're this close to doing Locked and Loaded and you just want to feel super secure and know that you know that you know that you know that it's the right decision for you, my team and I are doing something remarkable this weekend. If you are this close to doing Locked and Loaded and you just want a grounded nervous system, I want you to let my team know. Like, you can message me personally right now and say, I'm super interested in Locked and Loaded. My heart is pretty set on it, but I just want to make sure. My team and I are doing an event that's worth $5,000 for a small handful of people to let them experience Locked and Loaded for the next 24 hours. So if you're someone who's really, really close and you just want to feel really calm, I get it. I've spent $300,000 now on investments that some I loved and some I didn't, and I understand the fear. So if you just want to make sure that it's for you, let my team know in the inbox, like right now. And if you already know that you know that you know, and you want to claim all of your bonuses, the links to buy Locked and Loaded are here in this group. You can also private message me with any questions that you have. No question is a silly question. My team can set you up with everything from payment plans to invoices if you want to break the $22K up over a couple different cards. We do it all the time. Never feel silly to ask that. We love talking big money around my world. So whatever it takes to help you seal the deal and get your bonuses will help you out. Just don't hesitate to reach out. So that is the conclusion of this particular masterclass. It's been a pleasure. I love having these big conversations with you. If you haven't yet, share the graphic. We're gonna pull a name on Monday for $1,000 in XMH mentorship cash. And if you know Locked and Loaded is for you, make a freaking move. It would be my delight to have you, especially with my birthday week happening. Okay, love you guys. Bye.